Hey everybody, welcome back to the Breath of Fire 3 walkthrough. This episode is not going to be, it's not going to have any plot really in it. This is going to be strictly Fairy Village, so this will be more or less my Fairy Village guide. And this is the first time I came in here. If I remember right, I ended up getting some kind of not very good fairies. So my biggest recommendation for this when you first start out is to save outside, because the fairies are actually generated, the stats of the fairies are generated as you walk in here. So if you get a bunch of fairies that you don't particularly want, or you don't feel they have very good stats, now is the time to restart your game. You can soft reset by holding the select and start button if you're a PlayStation user. And that'll just do a soft reset for you, so then you can come back in and try for new fairies. Now the crummy thing about the initial time is she goes through this little speech, so that kind of is rough. But these ones, so Dr. K is like the worst fairy, period. And hopefully I didn't reset my game, I just went as is. But again, I'm pretty sure the first time, or actually, let me back up. I'm not sure if you can reset your fairy's stats the first time or not, but try it out. Let me know how it goes. I don't have an old game save, so I can't try it out for myself. But so Bass here is fairly smart. I'm gonna stick. I think I stuck Dr. K over there with the clearing. The first thing that you want to develop, though, is culture. The reason for that is the higher your culture level, the more efficient your fairies are. So the less time it'll take to develop new jobs, the less time it'll take to clear, less time it'll take to build, so on and so forth. Oh, and actually looks like I did move Dr. K up to hunting. That is the other thing. You want to have always a good amount of hunters. If you ever notice that you're coming into the Fairy Village and your food supply is dropping, that means you need more hunters. So all right, so this is another time I had come in. This actually I've already had the Fairy Village up and running for quite some time. And actually what I did was right after I got here, I went outside and just fought random battles over and over and over and over and over, and either ran away or just whatever, did whatever. And that's how you progress time here in the Fairy Village. The more there's certain actions require different things, but the important thing is to know is that it actually is the amount of encounters that you fight. You can now, and that's the other thing, you can run away. You don't actually have to fight and win the battle. You can run away. So here I've come into the Fairy Village, and I got really lucky. So I got one of the smartest fairies in the entire game, and that is Quinn. So let's see if I bring it up here again. This is how I had things set up at the time. I finally, like I said, I finally got Quinn, so it was time. I decided to start another copy shop. My ideal setup, and you will see it a little bit later, is 4 copy shops and a total of 10 fairies. But they I have the ones that are maxed out on their mind stat. So here's 2 examples: Fow here, and I forget the other one. But anyways, so I moved Quinn into the copy shop as well. And again, like I said, my ideal setup, and this is the way I set them up too. I put my copy shops up at the top, so that first house over there on the top left corner, that's the house. That's the initial house. So you don't need any. You don't. That just is there already when you come in the first time. For any additional houses in the mansion and whatnot, you need to clear the land first, and then you need to build. One of the things that I noticed was it seemed like I was getting blocked on clearing. I don't think you can just clear all the land first. I think you have to clear and then build, and then clear and then build, so on and so forth, and keep going like that. I think you have to alternate between the two. I don't think you can do all of your clearing at once and then all your building right after. Or at least that was what I seemed to notice. But again, so back to the whole culture thing. So you're gonna want to set your smarter fairies to develop the culture first, and then like I said, so it maxes actually out at 7, and then so like I said, that affects the efficiency of your fairies. So if your culture is only at 1 and you try to you'll try to copy something, it'll take longer than it should, really. And then so here's my hunters. I had sorry, I kind of took my time there, but my hunters are all max hunting, and as long as you have 5 fairies that have maxed out hunting bars, you will be fine. Those 5 hunters can support the entire fairy population. So once you get to those 5, then you can start getting other fairies, and this is what I was doing here. So basically, the pattern that I would go with was, what I would do is I would come in, and I'll show you again a little bit later. But what I would do is I would come in here, check what fairies were born, and then check their stats. And if I wasn't happy with their stats, I reset. And I just kept doing that until I got my 5 hunters, my 5 maxed out hunters, as well as the 10 maxed out, I don't know, I guess they call them smart fairies. They're the light blue bar. And here is, I always have one merchant set up as well, and I stick them up at the top of the house because I don't travel to then I don't need to travel to the top of the house very much. So I put in a little more thought, like my copy shops are generally at the bottom of the mansion, as well as obviously the initial house, because those are the fairies that I interact with the most. So I like to try to save time, because so the big story here is that obviously I like to copy, and so here I've been working on Swallow Eyes, and instead of sticking the copy shops at the very top of the mansion, which takes the most amount of travel time to get to, I stick them towards the bottom, because I don't want to I don't want to walk up the different flights of stairs and whatnot. And then on top of that, there's a lot of times where the fairies won't succeed at the copies. So if I felt like I didn't get a good enough rate of return, then I just reset my game, and you don't want to have to do any excess walking if you can avoid it. Okay, so what else do we got here? I think I just stocked my fairies back up with the copying. But again, so big major points here. Again, get your 5 fairies. If you're gonna spend any amount of time here, get your 5 fairies with the maxed out hunt bar. I believe there are, I don't have my notebook here, but there's at least 8 of them. All of the fairies are the same, or at least they were for me in every playthrough. So, for instance, Fowl, as an example from earlier, was a very smart fairy, as well as Quinn. And again, in my 2 different game saves, those fairies had the exact same stat bars. So I just assume that's the same case with everybody else's. But if that's not true, I guess that stinks, but that's my understanding anyway. And so then on the opposite side, we have Dr. K, who is, in my opinion, the worst fairy in the game. So I guess then that's the other thing. If you're trying to max out like I did, you'll probably, it won't take you too long to memorize the good fairies and the bad fairies, but there is a huge pool of, I'd say, I'm gonna call them like subpar fairies. Like I said, so there's about 8 hunter fairies. There are a maximum of 10 smart or full sky blue fairies, and so on and so forth. But those are, in my opinion, those are the most important too. Here's the other thing. When you get subpar fairies, the way to get rid of them is by sending them out on exploration missions. So I always send them out on distant ones. They have the best chance to get them killed off. So I go from there. Here, now that we're jumping into these are the merchants. So this particular merchant is this is the weapon shop, and then ability. No, sorry, I think it's speed. I'll go out here and check. I'll just make sure I got the right one. But there's two different types of each shop. So the weapon has a speed and the weapon has ability. So pretty sure this is speed. Let's check though. And I actually did switch this too because I had purchased everything I needed. Merchant, weapons, speed. Okay, so that was the speed shop. So hopefully this next video should be a list of the ability weapon shop. So again, the speed was what was the spike gauntlets, like royal dagger, I think, and then the ice halberd. This is another really great shop. It's got the protectors. I love the protectors. In my opinion, best armor in the game. Everybody can wear it, and it increases your status resistance by 50%. Love those, love those, love those. And once I picked those up, I think I had them equipped for the rest of the game. This shop is actually very useful because this is the one that's got the soul gem, and you get it really early. If you don't know what the soul gem is already, it even says on it, it saves the bear from death once. So what that means is if you take a hit and it's enough to kill you in combat, it revives you with actually full health. So very, very useful. You know, if you have enough of those, you are indestructible and you can't lose a fight. So all right, so this is an example of me getting, I believe this is some subpar fairies, and I think I'm going to show you what I do. So I go in, I check the board. I saw obviously that I had, what was it, 4 fairies that were born. So Dolia, that's subpar in my opinion. Yeah, this is very late on. I had all my fairies that I needed. So here's Vern. He's also obviously subpar. Sylvie, and good old Dr. K. So at this point, I would just hold start and select to do a soft reset and reset my game. Because obviously I was not happy with the fairies that I got. Now granted, when I took this footage, I was already capped out, or I was maxed out. I had all the fairies that I already wanted. So this was more just to kind of show you what I did. One other trick that I do want to add in here that I didn't. Actually, let me first say one thing. So I don't bother with the casino. I don't bother with really any of the other jobs because I just don't really find them that useful. If you want to sit, you know, in the casino and play the guessing game and try to get some of the I don't know, I guess kind of semi-good items in the game, you can go ahead and do that. But I do not like to do that at all. I actually hate it. I feel like it's a huge waste of time. So one of the other tricks, or one of the things that I should say that I didn't take footage of, unfortunately, is it's kind of related to this resetting and whatnot. But what you can do is every time you send your fairies out to do an exploration mission, there are some very, very good items. The spirit ring is one of them that you can get from that exploration mission. So one of the things that you can do is send your fairies out. And then, so actually, you're going to want to save outside, obviously, which is what I recommend with everything else, too. And that goes for copying as well. That way, you can reset if you're not happy with your rate of return. The other thing is, and this is for the exploration mission specifically, is you can send your fairy out, you can go up to the board, and then you can actually look at the board, and if it says that your fairies have returned, then what you can do is stick one of your fairies in the inn, and then what you can do is save inside the village at the inn, And then if you're not happy with the item that the fairy brought back, you can reset your game and try again for a new item that you obviously would like more. So and that's the thing though. So the copy shop works differently, where you want to save outside because the success is determined right as you step inside. The exploration missions take it one step farther, where whether or not it dies is determined as you step inside the village, but the actual item that you get is determined right at the moment that you talk to him or her. Sorry, I'm not sure what these fairies are. But yeah, that is about it. I don't really have a whole lot else to say about the Fairy Village. Like, comment, subscribe, whatever you want to do, but hope the guide was helpful, and hope you join me for more videos. All right, thanks for watching.